Ladies and gentlemen, hi, how are you? This is Eddie Marcus, and I'm back again. Why am I back again? Because you are always on my mind. And as time has passed, shortly, I was thinking about you and how you're missing it all. And not just you, but we as human race, we are missing it all. And the only thing that can free you is the truth. And for the most part, evidently, we have not received the truth because it is what it is. Now, I'm not trying to say that I got a whole bunch of connections and clutches on the truth that others don't. I don't know what. I'm not worried about that. I'm here because I got something. And I've been saying it for quite some time, and now I've got some evidence to support it, so I don't mind taking a little bit of time to support it. You know, let me give you some example. Let me just I'm going to skip through periods of time and identify certain things and try to use them analogous to what I'm trying to point out to you about this trip that we're going to take, okay? All right. Now, here we are in this big old world, confused as we can possibly be, just as confused as we can possibly be. And I think about the way things are supposed to be, contrasted with the way things are, and it's absolutely pathetic. I say pathetic because I see clearly about some of these things that other people don't see. But let me justify something, because a lot of people think I'm crazy. They call me silly and all of that. But let me tell you why they call me that. You see, I am just like everybody else, honestly. I was brought up in this world, trained by this world, and if I applied myself, I'm just as crooked as most, or slick as most. But for some strange reason, having experienced a lot of that, you know, I decided to make some changes in my life because there was something that got my attention, and that was the suffering of other people. Now, I am not just talking about this, ladies and gentlemen, and I got the evidence of it. Now, let me say something to my children. My children, I got some that, because I've been married twice, and I got a couple of kids. I got 9 children. And the truth of the matter is that the 4 that I have with me now, I mean, I have them from the cradle to now. The others, they were raised outside of my home because I acted like I acted. But nevertheless, the message that I have learned is the same message that I would teach my children. When you know what you're doing and you know the difference between playing games and being real, and you make that decision because it's always a decision that has got to be made, then you're going to walk it wherever it leads you. Now me, I know this world is crooked. I know it's crooked, it's crooked, it's crooked. Now what do I mean by that? I mean that all of the ugliness and all of the pain and all of the suffering that we see around us every day is because we human beings have allowed a spirit to enter us and persuade us to act crooked, trying to be our selfish ways rather than stick to the way of life. So we're here in the midst of this stuff, not knowing the truth, so we follow that stuff. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, just think for a second. I want you to know that this hell we're in is basically created. I'm telling you, listen here. Why would a person steal? Because they want something? Somebody may say, well, get a job. Let's say there are no jobs. And let's say they don't have it. Let's say they need it. And let's say they live in a system that has not provided for them. And if they're going to get it, They're going to have to be like a rat coming behind the stove at night, sneaking in there when you sleep, trying to get it. And most of them get it. They get caught every now and then. They got a little prison for them. But see, they were created because there was sustenance that they needed, that they required to maintain a certain standard of existence that you, the people who are operatives of the system, denied them that opportunity. And so rather than fix the problem, you point your finger at them and lock them up and call them no good. Ain't that something? Let me give you an example. You might not know what I'm talking about. Let me give you a real example. Now, you know the United States just got through going, or at least this impeachment thing with Donald Trump really seems as if it's predicated on this most recent thing that he did by withholding some funds that were supposed to have been going to Ukraine. You heard the story. That's what you've been listening to every day. Now, let me give you a little bit of something to eat with that. Now, supposedly, Ukraine was one of those real corrupt nations. And the United States wanted to have a little bit of control over them, you know, some kind of control. They were spending money on them because they were using them for some form of support. And they didn't mind paying the price, but they wanted to dip into basically what's going on. You did? You just can't have your way. They wanted to know what's going on. So, they wanted to say, let's get rid of corruption. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Get rid of it. And so somebody said, according to the news reports, that efforts have been made and great achievements have been made as far as getting rid of this corruption. In fact, they had an election and a new administration was brought into power on the basic ideas of getting rid of that corruption stuff. Now, here's the strange thing about it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, supposedly, the United States leadership, the president of the United States, is withholding these funds because the president wants to affirm that these guys are seriously entertaining getting rid of corruption. Now, that's the cover. That's the pretext. That's what everybody's supposed to know. That's what they put out there for you to get. All right? You got that? But what they're really trying to do is to corrupt a nation that just got rid of, call themselves getting rid of corruption. Now the United States want to corrupt that nation and keep them under their thumb as long as these people got power, because he gave in to that corruption. He didn't want to give in to the corruption, but like somebody said, he had a gun to his head. The Russians up there killing their people, they don't have the funds to do what they're supposed to do, and because somebody's holding them. And why are they holding them? Because they want a favor. What kind of favor? They want you to do something for them that would help them in some manner that's very important to them. So they're using the people's money to hold you hostage. You see what I'm saying? Now, I heard that this president was so serious and concerned about their situation that he made the decision that, okay, we'll do it. So in other words, yes, we agree. We are willing to be corrupted by you. Now that's not a president excited. But they still hadn't got that money, they say. The only reason the money was released, they say, because it was exposed that somebody had their hand in the cookie jar. I don't know if that's true or not. All I'm saying is, you see how people corrupt people and they do these things? That's the way of the world. Now, let me tell you something about this power you can't see, you can't touch, you can't feel. This power is real. That's God, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all believe in God, and y'all belief don't mean nothing. The only thing y'all can do with your belief, the most you can do with your belief, is hand out some soup sandwiches, some soup and some sandwiches, and go to church and tell somebody you glad God woke you up in the morning. Thank Him for your job. Thank Him for the food you had to eat. You don't know who you're thanking. You think you're thanking God, and you are, but you're not thinking about that invisible God. That invisible God doesn't have nothing to do with that. That's the God of this world. That's their system. That's the way they do business. So when you talk about only thanking God, you think you're talking about to a spiritual God. You're not talking to some spiritual God. You're talking to that God that lives in each of you, that think that is something grand, because you don't know the truth. If you knew the truth, you would see the pain and suffering that others go through when they're on the border. trying to run from suffering when they're anywhere in the world where they just got to get away. And you want to build a wall to keep them out. Don't you know that's the devil? Well, so let me say this to you, how God works this thing. Every human being on the face of the earth, their number one concern is survival. Is that correct? I'm sure we would agree. Survival is our number one concern. Okay. Now, what is it that it doesn't matter what we do, something that's guaranteed to happen to us irregardless of what we think. And that is, as sure as we live, we will surely die. I mean, that's promised to everybody that's breathing right now. There's going to come a time when you're going to die. But in between that time of living right now and thinking about dying, you think about doing a lot of surviving. Now, why? Why do you think about doing a lot of surviving? Because you don't know nothing about the dead. And you don't want to know nothing about the dead. I can dig it. I don't know nothing about the dead. But I can tell you this. I can tell you a couple of things to make you think. Maybe to put some wonder on your mind. You know, while you're breathing right now, in any moment, it can all stop. And you're dead. Actually, you're dead. And if you haven't done anything enough to be remembered by your goodness, your kindness, you will definitely be forgotten. Now, it might be strange. I hope I'm going to step away from that for a minute. I hope you remember to come back. I was telling you that when I sacrifice myself and I can't, if I don't go into the world and try to benefit from the world, that means I ain't got nothing. So my children, I can't really spend no money on them or nothing like that. And some people say, I used to be sorry about it because I didn't know. I thought something was out there. And I do. If something is wrong with that, is that we're living in a system that does not allow the truth, does not allow the heaven that's been designed for us to exist. Now, when I say the system, I'm talking about we the people. We the people empower the system. We can shut it down anytime you shut it down. So, but you're not, because you don't have nobody to persuade you and encourage you, like I'm trying to do right now, to shut this thing down and let us live. You see, if everybody in the community just start talking to one another about those different things, I mean, just take an exercise, just for a second. And then, I talk to each other, find out what's going on, how you living, how you like it, what's it all about. And share your happiness and share your sufferings and commit yourselves to do something about them. Commit yourselves to do something about them as a community. You don't know exactly what to do, but you're willing to do whatever is being proposed if it's feasible and can work. And then take it to your leaders. Take it to your local leaders. Share it with them. Tell them you want some different. They're the leadership. You voted for them. Now you've come up with a dream, and you want them to take control of the dream and do it. And you know what? If they're genuine people, they'll do it their best shot. If they're not, they're going to tell you what their bottom line is. They can't do it. But now what happened in this one city happened in all of the cities throughout the state. And all of the cities throughout the state who went to their local officials who got this word that they couldn't handle it, they went to the state government. They went to their governors and said, look at governors, here we are. We are the citizens of this great state of wherever you live. And we committed ourselves to care about one another, protect one another from the pain and suffering that we have to endure every day. And so we've identified these things and we want to share them with you. We need your help. We need your support. And we're going to lay them on the table and ask you, take control. Now, if they're kind-hearted people, they might try to do the best they can. But if they be truthful to you, they won't be able to do it because it's not designed to be done. But now, we got all of the people in every city, in every state, 50 states. Now what they do, they design themselves to go take it to the high power. They want to go to the federal power. They want to go to the federal government. And they take it to the leadership, the president now, and they say, Mr. President, here's our situation. And you share with the president and federal powers just like you did at your local and your state powers. And if they compassion, then they will probably listen to your proposals. And if they do, these proposals will work. But if they still are caught up to the system and they have been chosen to represent the system, as you can see in this impeachment thing, you know, got a lot of people this regarding what the president is saying. They coming forward telling it anyway. But the bosses, the one that's in the top spots, they stick it to the president. They not coming and saying nothing. Whatever the president's doing, that's what the president, that's what they're doing. And you, they at least gave you the liberty to stand up, and they piss with you though. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm saying. When you got these kinds of situations, you got life and death, and it's sitting right there, back door to back door. And everybody's gonna die. The point of it is, what are you willing to pay? What is the price you're willing to pay or suffer in that extension, what you call survival between life and death? What price are you willing to pay? Are you willing to sell your soul just to live for a period of time, what we call survival, just to be here? Are you willing to do anything just to be here? Well, most of the people that are here done already made their choice. They are willing to do anything to be here. And that's why we are here. We are willing to do anything. So when I wasn't able to do anything for my kids, there was a message in that the pain that they feel is the same pain that so many others feel. Now there's a message to say that if others can pain and I can pain, then there's something that brings us together, that would unite us and cause us to want to come together and deal with a problem that seems to be bigger than us alone. And so we have to come together. Now coming together don't mean fighting. Coming together means standing up. The difference between living in the world and living in God's world is this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you, you might not like it, I'm going to tell you the way I see it right now. Living in the world, you want to survive, God knows, at all costs. You're going to do as much kindness as you can basically do. You ain't going to, many of you, not a lot of y'all just crazy, but a lot of you are going to be kind and you're going to say nice things to people. You're not going to cause any problems. You're not going to cause any ruckuses. And you're going to be willing to help people. You're going to be willing to have some compassion with one for another and to share. Yeah, many of you are going to be that. And you do that because your pastors and your preachers and whoever you've been listening to on the spiritual level have taught you that this is honoring God. And so this exercise does not threaten the system at all. In other words, it helps to keep you complacent. It helps to keep you quiet. And so this is permitted. But at the same time, while you're doing this, you're denying those others that you don't even know about. And the reason that you don't know about is because the system that you're still living under, would think you doing something good, still got you conformed to its limitations. Somebody asks, well, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Well, I know some of my kids would say, he ain't never done nothing for me and I can't stand it. Yep. And I understand that and appreciate that. Some of my kids will say, well, Dad was a good man, he never had no money. But he was alright. And I appreciate that. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you how much this thing means to me and how much I see. Can you imagine any man? You remember back in the 90s when people were losing their homes, foreclosures, money tight, people, out of their apartments. Things really tight. People going through all kinds of changes. Black market stuff, pimping, drugging, prostitution, all that kind of crazy stuff going on. You remember that? Well, can you imagine somebody walk out on the streets one day and tell this old lady, say, look here, let's move out of this stuff and let's move to the Capitol. Let's just go and move to the Capitol steps to get some attention. Now, this wasn't nobody just talking off the top of their head now. This was a local social scientist. And he had been involved in a lot of political stuff, and he had even sought office for mayor a couple of times, I think, or at least once. And he was, I gotta say, active in civic affairs. But he couldn't stand what was going on. He wanted to do something about it. He wasn't trying to do something about it according to the way the system is designed for you to input. No, he was seriously trying to do something about it that requires people to start believing in a spirit and start believing in what they believe in. So that didn't work. The lady said, I ain't going up that Capitol. And so she kept the kids to be going up to the Capitol. He went up there by himself for about 10 days, stayed on the steps. But for some strange reason, standing on those steps by yourself, protesting, trying to get an attention, your little signs, a lot of things going on in the Capitol. But for some strange reason, people will ignore your butt. But it seemed to me that a man and his whole family up there, I got the strange feeling that'd be kind of difficult to ignore. And then you could start speaking out, speaking to the common cause that would bring some life, bring some truth, eradicate these things. People ain't happy. People just going through the motion. So anyway, I got off the subject a little bit. God, they've been talking 22 minutes and I haven't said a thing. Let me try to finish this up. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. In God's world, creating heaven on earth, the period between life and death, heaven is in between, and it never stops. You will stand up. I don't have to tell you, you gonna stand up. But just like Jesus said, I gotta go away. If I don't go away, you won't receive the Spirit. The Spirit won't come, and you won't be able to stand up on your own 2 feet. Moses went out there and looked over the promised land, took the kids out there, and they say he looked over the promised land. Somebody tried to say he got zipped up to him somewhere, and somebody don't make no difference as far as I'm concerned. So they probably went around the thing, got him a lady that lived him a different life, because he wasn't going no further with you, because you're going to be dependent on him, and you'd never stand up on your own 2 feet. And see, this is what's going on in the world today. God is requiring that every last one of us stand up on our own 2 feet. Stand up on our own 2 feet. Stand for that one thing that represents God. And the thing that represents God represents every last one of us. And it does not leave us missing nothing. And we can have peace and be prosperous and have freedom and be joyous in our lives and watch the fulfillment of our dreams. That's why I talk about that. And we want my kids to know that's why I talk about it. And it would be great if they... But see, there's a difference, ladies and gentlemen. I was saying something about believing. Believing is just like straw blowing in the wind. Don't mean too much of nothing. You got to know. And the only reason you can know is if God shows himself to you. And don't ask me how and why and the method that God uses, but I tell you one thing. Don't think that a joker that's been used got something special that you won't, or you missing something, because to whom much is given, much is required. In most of the instances where miracles have happened in people's lives, either they were able to hear when they used to couldn't, they were able to see when they used to couldn't, they were able to walk when they used to couldn't, they can talk when they used to couldn't, they can play when they used to couldn't, they can laugh now when they used to couldn't. Or they are alive when they once were dead. And once any of these things happen to you, you ain't gonna keep your mouth shut. You gonna tell somebody. Why? Because you've witnessed something that no human being, you've experienced something that no human being on the face of the earth could ever cause to happen. And by George, but by doing that, by having that testimony, God has paid a price for you. He gave you back your life for you to represent God. Not be going along with the system, not trying to keep him rocking the boat. You better rock the sucker till the boat turn over. God ain't playing with nobody. God loves us. And he wants us to have our dreams. And we keep walking around here dealing with the devil, talking about we somebody. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think 25 minutes is long enough, so I'm going to say once again, thank you so very much for giving me this your time. Until the next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.
We feel good. Oh, I started to get no idea.